Good morning, dear students. I am very happy to meet you all through this class after a long period of gap. In the previous class, that is Act 4, Scene 1, Part 6 of it, I had told you that Shylock had almost lost his case, and therefore Portia tells Shylock that he should kneel down and beg for the mercy of the Duke. But Graciano is very harsh towards Shylock because Shylock was very harsh towards Antonio. Therefore, Graciano says, "Beg that thou mayst have leave to hang thyself, and yet thy wealth being forfeit to the state, thou hast not left the value of a cord, therefore thou must be hanged at the state's charge." Graciano tells to Shylock, yes, of course, you should go and beg pardon or ask for mercy of the Duke of the city, just to let you free to hang yourself. At the same time, she reminds him that even you don't have wealth to buy a cord to hang yourself, because half of his property was given to the state, whereas half was given to Antonio. Therefore, Shylock is with no money, and Graciano is telling him, even to hang him, state has to pay the money for buying the cord. Whereas Duke is not that harsh towards Shylock. He tells him that thou shalt see the difference of our spirit. I pardon thee thy lie before thou ask for it. Duke of the city had seen the very stubborn attitude of Shylock. Therefore, he tells him, now you would see the difference between your attitude and our attitude. Just before you could ask for your life, I pardon you. I tell you, go. You are free to live your life. Means Duke is not going to give him penalty or death penalty. This means Duke is very, very kind towards Shylock. Whereas Antonio is not that much eager to take his wealth. He says, for half thy wealth it is Antonio's, the other half comes to the general state, which humbleness may drive unto a fine. The Duke says that half of your wealth is gone to Antonio, the other half is gone to the state. But if you are humble enough, if you have that humility, that state may not take your whole half of the wealth, it may ask you only to pay a fine. Portia tells A for the state, not for Antonio. So, Portia says to the court or to Shylock that this is applicable only for the state. State can give the property to Shylock back, but it does not apply for Antonio. Antonio has full right to keep his half of the property. Shylock says, nay, take my life and my all. Pardon not that. You take my house when you do not take the prop that doth sustain my house. You take my life when you do take the means whereby I live. Shylock says, no, don't give me the freedom of live my life. He says, you take my life. Don't pardon me. He is telling you are just behaving with me like that. Suppose a house is there and you remove the pillar of that house which are supporting the house, that house will collapse. It will simply get destroyed. In the same way, if you take the the wealth of Shylock, which is his very support to live his life, this means there is no fun of giving him freedom to live life. He says, you take my life. Because if you are taking my wealth, if you are not giving me any share to live my life, there is no fun of having my life to be lived on this earth. Portia tells, what mercy can you render him, Antonio? So then Portia turns towards Antonio and she wants to know the mind of Antonio, that what kind of mercy he can offer to Shylock. And Graciano once more interferes. He says, a halter gratis, nothing else, for God's sake. Graciano says, yes, only mercy that we can show is that we can give him the gift of God free of cost, so that he can go and hang himself. And Graciano tells to Antonio, don't give him anything else, for God's sake. Antonio tells, so please my lord the Duke and all the court to quit the fine for one half of his goods, I am content. So he will let me have the other half in use to render it upon his death. So Antonio is also very much pleased with the statement of the Duke. He says he has no problem, as it pleases to the Duke of the city and to the court, to quit him the fine for one half of his goods, and Antonio is fully satisfied with that. But half of the property, Antonio wants that he should have it and render it or give it to others. Others means that lately stole his daughter. Others means he is telling that half of the property that is remaining, that is supposed to be given to Antonio, should be given after his death to his son-in-law and daughter, that is to Lorenzo and Jessica. And one more condition he puts, two things provided more, that for this favor he presently become a Christian, the other that he do record a gift here in the court of all he dies possessed unto his son Lorenzo and his daughter. Antonio tells that he has to fulfill two more conditions. One is that Shylock should immediately become a Christian, and the second one is that in front of the court he should write a will, or he should sign a deed in which it should be mentioned that after his death all the property that he possesses should go to his son Lorenzo, that is son-in-law, and his daughter Jessica. Then Duke says, he shall do this or else I do recant the pardon that I late pronounced here. The Duke of the city says him that Shylock has to follow these two important conditions. If he does not follow these two conditions, then the Shylock has to undergo the fine that is already pronounced by the court, or else he has to fulfill the conditions and get free of all these problems. Portia, art thou contented, Jew? What thou hast to say? Shylock, I am content. So Portia wants to know the mind of Shylock. She asks him, are you happy? Are you satisfied? Or do you want to say something? And Shylock humbly accepts that he is fully contented, he is fully satisfied. Portia then tells the clerk, draw a deed of gift. Meaning, Portia tells Nerissa that she should immediately draw a gift, that is deed of gift, means Shylock after his death will give all his property to Jessica and Lorenzo. In the meanwhile, Shylock says, I pray you give me leave to go from hence. I am not well. Send the deed after me and I will sign it. Shylock was completely shaken. He was totally broken. He was not feeling well. Therefore, he requests the court that let him go from there. Let me go to from hence. Let him go from there, because he did not keep fine. And he says, send the deed to my home and I will sign it. And Duke reminds him, get thee gone, but do it. Duke of the city says, yes, you can leave the court, you can go to your home, but make it sure that you should sign the deed that is being drawn in the court. And Graciano says, in Christianity shalt thou have two godfathers. Had I been judge, thou shouldst have had 10 more to bring thee to the gallows, not to the font. Dear students, in Christianity, there is a ceremony when a child is born, he or she is brought to the church And in the church there is a font where the child is given baptism, and they, the child's parents and godparents, that is godfather and godfathers, they witness this ceremony and they become the witness, or they take up the responsibility to bring that child according to the customs and traditions of the Christianity. Graciano says, if he could have been the judge, not only 2 godfathers could have been brought, but 10 godfathers could have been brought, not to bring him to the font for baptism, but to hang him to the gallows. सीधा सीधा बोलता है कि मैं अगर जज होता तो तुमको कभी भी चर्च में ले जाकर बपतिस्मा ग्रहण नहीं करवाता, 10 जज बुलवाता या 10 गॉड फादर गॉड पेरेंट्स बुलवाता और सीधा सीधा फांसी लगवा देता. ड्यूक सेज, सर, I entreat you home with me to dinner. At the same time, Duke of the city asked Portia, please do come to my home and have dinner with me. And Portia says, I humbly do desire your grace or pardon. I must away this night toward Padua, and it is meet I presently set forth. Portia says to the Duke of the city, I am very sorry. I humbly do desire your grace. I am very sorry, my lord, that I cannot go for dinner to your house because my time does not permit me, because she had to directly go to Padua because something very important had to be done. In that case, Duke of the city says, I am sorry that your lieges serve you not. He says, I am very sorry that you really are a busy person and you do not have extra or free time, leisure time that can permit you to have dinner with me. Yes, Antonio, gratify this gentleman, for in my mind you are much bound to him. He tells Antonio, you should reward this gentleman. According to the Duke of the city, because of this gentleman, Antonio was saved. Therefore, Antonio is much bound to Portia. And Bassanio says, most worthy gentleman, I and my friend have by your wisdom been this day acquitted of grievous penalty, in lieu whereof 3,000 ducats due unto the Jew, we freely cope your courteous pain withal. Bassanio says to Portia, most worthy gentleman, I myself and my friend both are very grateful to you. It is because of your wisdom that we have been acquitted from a very great penalty. And the money, that is 3,000 ducats, that they were supposed to give to Shylock, they are telling that you take that as a fee for the hard work, for the pain that you have taken to solve this case. And Antonio says, and stand indebted over and above in love and service to you evermore. Antonio says, not only for today, but evermore throughout his life, he will remain grateful to Portia for the love and service that she has done to save the life of Antonio. Portia says, he is well paid, that is well satisfied, and I am delivering you am satisfied, and therein do account myself well paid. My mind was never yet more for money. I pray you, know me when we meet again. I wish you well, and so I take my leave. Portia says, the person is well paid when he or she is satisfied with his or her work. She says, and I am delivering you, I am satisfied. He says, I am making you aware, I am telling you, I am informing you that I am fully satisfied, and since I am fully satisfied, therefore I am well paid. Because in my mind there was neither a small thought regarding the money. Only I request you, when you meet me again, I wish you all well, and so take my leave. He said, what I want to tell you is that whenever we meet each other, we should be very happy to meet each other. And now she wants the leave of them all. She wants to go back to Padua. We know that actually Portia wants to go back to Belmont before her husband and Neresa's husband could reach. A very small portion is left. I think in the next class we will be able to complete Act 4, Scene 1 and Part 8 of it. So with that we will come to an end. I am very sure all of you have understood this act well. If you still have any doubt, please do ask me. Thank you. God bless you. Have a nice and wonderful day.